afternoon and welcome to Holly's house. I'm Holly Warner, and you're not.
I think my finger was That's okay.
Okay, I'm ready, sorry.
Okay.
I couldn't remember who I was. Hello, good afternoon, welcome to Holly's house. I'm Holly Warner, owner and executive chef at Avanti Restaurant here in Del Rio at 600 East 12th Street, and welcome to my home. I want y'all to be sure and get a pencil and a pad of paper to write down today's recipe. It's going to be very exciting. We have eggplant Provençal, and we also have my trusty assistant, my husband Mac, my little man in the kitchen, going to do Caesar salad. So y'all be sure and oops, sorry, write that down. If you have any questions or comments about the show, if you'd like to request a recipe from the restaurant or another restaurant in town, you can write to me in care of the TV station. Write to me, Holly Warner at Holly's House, care of KTRG TV 10, Post Office Box 421635, Del Rio, Texas 78842. Now don't forget to get your pen and paper and write down the recipe, and we'll be right back, and we're going to make eggplant Provençal when we come back. Thanks to our sponsors for making this possible. We'll be right back. Hello, welcome back to Holly's house. Today's recipe is eggplant Provençal. It's available on page 15 in my cookbook. You can stop by the restaurant and pick one up. It's a great gift and wonderful to have in your kitchen. Now what I want to do is give y'all the recipe and then I'll show you the technique of how to put everything together. It's very easy. It's a wonderful, wonderful dish. We're going to use a beautiful eggplant and numerous other ingredients, and they are as follows. You will need 2 pounds of tomatoes. I like Roma tomatoes, but you can use any kind you like. 1 stalk of celery, 2 carrots, 1 onion, 1 tablespoon of fresh parsley, 1/4 cup of olive oil, 2 cloves of garlic, and we'll crush those. You'll have basil, salt, and pepper to taste, 1/4 cup of dry red wine, 2 medium eggplants, probably about 1 cup of flour, a cup to a cup and a half of flour for dredging your eggplant, 1/4 cup or more as needed of butter, real butter please, 2 cups of grated Swiss cheese or Gruyere cheese. I like the Gruyere cheese. It's a hard Swiss cheese that has a lot of flavor, and you're going to need, with all of these vegetables together, you're going to need a cheese with a lot of flavor. So what we're going to do is, what we've already done, thanks to my trusty assistant, is we have chopped our tomatoes, our 2 pounds of Roma tomatoes. We have our onion, our carrots, and our celery, chopped very finely, very nicely as well. Thank you, darling. And our eggplant. Now what I've done with the eggplant is I went ahead and started some, and I cut it in about 1/4 inch slices. Now you don't want to peel your eggplant. Now a lot of the recipes that you're going to find for eggplant, they're going to want you to cut it, salt it, and put it in a colander, so the salt will cause the eggplant to render its juice. A lot of people think eggplant is bitter. Well, yeah, it's going to be bitter if you don't buy a good eggplant. But you want to buy a good eggplant. And when we don't have it in the garden here at the house, I buy them at the market or from my food distributor. You want to look for an eggplant that is heavy for its size, bright purple in color. Now this one's been sitting out a bit, but when Mac brought it home, it was gorgeous, and this was all pretty and green. So that's something you want to look for. But the big thing with an eggplant is that it's heavy for its size, glossy purple, no scars, and a bright green top. Then that way you don't have to worry about salting it in the colander and weighing it down and letting it all come out. So all you do, just wash it really good with soap and water. I always wash my vegetables with soap and water. And then slice it in a 1/4 inch slice. And then what we're going to do, oh, thank you, dear, is we will saute them, dredge them in flour lightly, and saute them in butter until they're brown. Basically limp, you know, just barely cooked. And that will take probably about a minute to 30 seconds aside. So we'll get that going. And I have a lot of this sauteed already, and I'm going to So you just lightly dredged eggplant and just put them in there like so. Now your eggplant's going to soak up your liquid. So you want your pan to be hot. So while that's cooking, we'll take a break and we'll be right back and I'll show you the rest of the recipe on Holly's house. We'll be right back in just a minute. I'm going to finish our recipe now for eggplant Provençal. Now I've started sauteing my eggplant in the butter till it's nice and brown on both sides. I've already done most of it over here, and this one is just about ready to come out. You want your eggplant cooked but not limp. So it's brown on both sides pretty much. That looks good. And so then you want to drain it on a paper towel or a brown paper bag, whatever's handy. Let me turn that off and let that cool a little bit. And then we're going to start making our sauce that we're going to layer the eggplant with. Okay, let me put that aside there.
You know, Holly, it's too bad that the cameras don't have noses, because that
Does it
just
smell
smells
good?
so good.
Does it smell good?
Yes.
Oh, it does smell good. Okay, now remember you want your pot to be hot before you put your oil in so your ingredients won't stick. Always have to bend down to check. So I'm going to let that heat up a little bit. Then I have my 1/4 cup of olive oil. Make sure that's hot. Yeah, that's good. Okay, I'll pour that in, 1/4 cup of olive oil. Let that get hot. Here we go. Now to this I'm going to add, let's see, 2 cloves of garlic. I'm probably going to put 3. I like garlic, so I'm going to put 3 cloves of garlic in, and it's fresh garlic, and I'm going to press it in like this. My garlic press. I'm going to be careful with your garlic. You don't want to burn it, so it won't be bitter. Whoa, big garlic clove, yeah. That was a good one. So we'll stir that around a little bit. That smells good. Thank you, honey. Okay, now we're ready to add our tomatoes. We have our 2 pounds of chopped Roma tomatoes. We're going to put in like so. Put that over there, and I'm going to stir those around a little bit. And what I want to do now with my tomatoes is I'm going to go ahead and add the salt and pepper. So the salt will cause the tomatoes to give up their juice, so it'll start making with the sauce. So this is just a taste, you know, just, I would say probably a teaspoon of salt and a teaspoon of fresh ground pepper. I'm going to let that, and remember I always keep my little bowl of salt and pepper when I'm cooking, so I don't have to worry about doing that or doing this. So we're going to cook that down a little bit. Okay, turn that up a little bit. I'm going to grab a hot pad. Maybe I won't catch it on fire today. Now we're going to add 2 carrots, 1 onion, and 1 stalk of celery that has been finely chopped. You want your vegetables, especially your harder ones, excuse me, to be the same size so they'll cook evenly and at the same time. Excuse me. Still have a touch of that cold. Will you get me a little glass of water, honey? The garlic, yeah, lots of garlic. So what we're going to do...
You want anything else?
Sorry, you guys.
Garlic.
Is it killing y'all too?
I think it smells good.
Sorry about that.
There's nothing in that water.
Nothing in that water, just plain water. So you want your vegetables to cook down until they're nice and thick. And then we're going to add some dry red wine. But first, let's add some fresh parsley and some basil Phone's ringing. That's about a tablespoon of fresh parsley and about a tablespoon of fresh basil that I chopped up together. Boy, I had a frog in my throat. Excuse me. Okay, we'll stir that up. Okay, now, let me get the red wine. Excuse me, dear. Yeah, I was throwing that carrot in the sink. I'm going to put about a quarter of a cup of dry red wine. This is just a dry red table wine from Italy that we use at the restaurant all the time. It's Citra. It's wonderful. So I'm going to put about a quarter cup. Maybe half a cup. Yeah, we always cook with wine, even in the daytime. Okay, so we want that to cook down. You want your vegetables to become tender, and the onions and the celery and the carrots and the tomatoes to form a nice sauce is basically what it's going to be. But it's going to be a chunky sauce, and we're going to layer that with the eggplant and the cheese and bake it in the oven. So while that's cooking a little bit, what I'm going to add a little more wine. What I want to do is let Mac start telling y'all about the Caesar salad, because with this dish, we like to have this with just a Caesar salad and some homemade bread, our focaccia bread, and a glass of wine, and that's your meal. But of course, on a holiday or Easter, Christmas, whatever, you could serve this, and this is the way they do it in France. That would be alongside a roasted meat, like a lamb or roast beef or something like that. It would be a side dish. But, you know, Americans, we always put eggplant as a meat substitute. And I love it. A Lenten special, I guess you could call it. But we're going to let that cook. And Mac is going to tell y'all his wonderful recipe for Caesar salad. Okay? Voila.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Doing Caesar salad, we do it two different ways. One is like at the restaurant, and what I traditionally like is when it's done right at the table, and it's a little bit different, and that's what I'm going to do tonight, this afternoon, to make a Caesar salad. And the Caesar salad, what you'll have in it are 3 cloves of crushed garlic, a 1/3 cup of olive oil, 4 anchovies, and I know I can already hear the snickers out there of anchovies. We'll talk about that in a minute. 1 tablespoon of Worcestershire, you heard me, a 1/2 teaspoon of salt, a 1/2 teaspoon of dry mustard, fresh ground pepper, 1 large romaine head of lettuce, 1 coddled egg, and I'll explain that in a second, 1 lemon, not the whole lemon, of course, the juice of a lemon, garlic croutons, and a 1/2 cup of Parmesan cheese. And right as soon as Holly gets this all put together, we'll go ahead and explain that.
If we were going to make Caesar salad at home, just perchance we were out of dry mustard, could you use just plain old yellow mustard
Yes.
that you have in the fridge?
You can use mustard, just regular mustard.
Okay, and what about, now when I did the pasta puttanesca, I talked a little bit about anchovies, and I said that most Americans are afraid of anchovies, but they add so much flavor, and you have to have anchovies in a Caesar salad. Somebody the other day asked at the restaurant, they said, does your Caesar salad have anchovies? And I said, well, it's in the dressing. I said, well, I can't. No. So.
Yeah, and the funny thing about it, anchovies, if you don't like anchovies, you can leave them out. Put a little bit of Worcestershire in it, because guess what's in Worcestershire? Anchovies. So that's all you have to do is add just a little bit of that.
A little more extra, right?
Yeah, extra Worcestershire, and it takes the fear away from anchovies.
Okay, so what I'm doing now, thank you, honey, is I'm layering my eggplant in Pyrex. And y'all know I love to cook with glass because I think it conducts heat better. And our sauce is simmering nicely. Smells very good. Very, very good. And then basically what we'll do when we come back from our break is we're going to layer our casserole, pop it in the oven, and then we're going to watch Mac make his wonderful Caesar salad. The Caesar salad that Mac makes, of course, is by the table. The one we make at Avanti, we make in the blender, so it's more of a creamy dressing, whereas Mac's is more of an oil and vinegar. And I really like it. It's wonderful. So what we'll do is we'll take a break and we'll get some things going, and when we come back we'll put everything together and then plate it out and taste it and see how it tastes. We'll be right back with more Holly's House right after. Hello, we're back. Welcome back to Holly's House. Good afternoon. We're going to put together our eggplant Provençal now. Our sauce is thickened up. I've layered one layer of eggplant in our Pyrex, and what I want to do is just spoon a nice layer over this, just like so. I love this gadget. It's wonderful.
Do we want to put baby in there?
No, honey, baby's outside.
Okay.
Or no, she's over there or something. Now what we're going to do is sprinkle with our Gruyere cheese that Mac grated for me. Thank you, darling. Put that like so, yeah. Hi, baby. And now we're going to put one more layer of eggplant in. I'm going to use my fingers because it's faster. We'll put the eggplant like so. Just one more layer on top. I probably could have used a smaller Pyrex, but I couldn't find it. There we go.
The dog's eating out of it, I think.
The dog's outside, yeah. Okay, now we'll put the rest of our sauce on top, like so. Ooh, it smells good. And this cooked down just beautifully. It smells heavenly. You can really smell the basil. And the vegetable, you know, so basically everything in your casserole, careful honey, it's hot, is cooked. So only thing it has to do in the oven is get hot and bubbly and melt the cheese. Thank you, though.
Pour that over there.
Yeah, you want to grab the hot pads and do that for me, please? Grab the hot pads and do that. Thank you, darling. Now pour that all over there. Nice sauce. And one of these shows, I'm going to show y'all something else I do with this really wonderful mixture of vegetables. I puree it and put it in meatloaf for my daughter because she's a real picky eater sometimes. So now we're going to put cheese on top, and I'm going to pop it in the oven and let it get all hot and bubbly. And while that's cooking, Mac is going to show us his version of Caesar salad. Okay, there we go.
Good.
I'll put this in the oven, and Mac's on. There you go, honey.
Well, thank you.
You're welcome. Ouch,
Now,
that's hot.
First of all, the nice thing about having Caesar salad at the table is you get the entertainment and the actor that's behind the salad making the salad. Plus, it tastes a little bit better because you know it's made fresh right then. It's not been made in the at the refrigerator. First of all, I mean, everybody probably knows where Caesar salad came from. I mean, you know, Caesar, Rome, wrong. It came from Tijuana, Mexico. Way back in the old days, Hollywood people would go down into Mexico, and they would go to this one restaurant. And one day he was out of food, and lo and behold, he goes, I got to make something. So he threw a bunch of stuff together. He took big leaves of lettuce, which was romaine, made it all together, and people were just eating this by hand. And so it was, when it first came out, was a entire leaf with the Caesar salad dressing on it, and they just picked it up as hand food. And that's where it started. Then it finally made it through Europe and different variations. But that's how it actually started in Mexico.
Tijuana.
Tijuana.
Isn't that amazing?
Most recipes say take your garlic, cut it up, and take your bowl and then rub it around the bowl like this to get the flavor of the garlic. Well, I don't like that. I just put 2 whole garlics in there.
I'm back here.
And make it taste a little bit better. I love garlic.
Ones.
And then salt and pepper to taste. Ground pepper is always the best.
Fresh ground
and
pepper.
Also, there's about a half a teaspoon of dry mustard.
There are your utensils.
And here's my little anchovies. What I've done is I've mushed up the anchovies nicely. It's really, I'm not putting quite as much. This is about 2 pieces of anchovies instead of 4.
Fillets.
2 fillets instead of 4.
Because Mac doesn't like anchovies. I love
So
them.
I put extra Worcestershire sauce
Let
in.
me take that for you, dear.
Yeah, let me get my Worcestershire sauce.
Don't put too much.
Worcestershire sauce, about a half of one of these. It says 1 tablespoon in the recipe. And then with everything
I'm sorry, excuse me.
Yeah.
That can be to taste.
Yeah. And you just want to mush it all together. It becomes pretty thick at this point. Notice we haven't added the wine. I mean the wine. I guess
What's
We
on
already
your
have added
mind?
the wine, haven't we? Oil to it. And then the lettuce. The lettuce needs to be already cut up in bite-sized pieces or a little bit larger,
Washed and dried.
washed and dried, and chilled down. And the drier the better, because you want the oil to actually be able to stick with the
Cling
cling to the leaves. And I'll use about one of these. That's about a 1/3 cup. And that's the first part of we start. You don't want to add any more until you've now mixed this together to find out how it actually looks. We got probably a little bit more lettuce, too much lettuce, but it's okay.
You're okay.
What you're looking for is, as you're doing it up to this point, is the leaves to be glistening. And if you do it too fast and say, okay, that's good enough, then you'll get clumpy dressing. So it takes a little bit of time to stir this in here.
Where's your egg?
I could sing.
Don't.
No, okay.
Where's your egg?
Okay.
Did you put the egg in there?
No, I
already?
have not got that.
Okay.
And then we do the coddled egg. And a coddled egg is nothing more than an egg that's been left out of the refrigerator to be warmed up a little bit, and then put in boiling water for about 30 seconds. And that's how that
Cool.
works. That goes in next, and this will help also glisten the leaves up. And you can see now it's starting to shine pretty nice in the lights.
Are you through with the Worcestershire?
I believe so, yes. And then we do the juice of 1 lime.
Lemon.
Lemon. I knew that. And what that's going to do is actually
Lime or
make it start turning a little bit of white in here, because the lemon reacts with the other sauces and the eggs. Now this is not that as much lettuce as I thought we had.
Right.
This is actually coming
Can I
out
say something
right.
real quick?
Yes.
So basically, when your Caesar salad, sometimes when you're making a creamy Caesar salad, that's what mayonnaise is egg and olive oil and lemon. That's what mayonnaise is. But you make it in a blender so it looks creamy. So when you make it at the table like this, if you don't mix it as much, it's like oil and vinegar. Maybe that looks good.
And then a little bit of Parmesan. And then right at the end, you want to put the croutons on and fluff them up so they don't get too soggy. And what I actually end up with is you want to serve this on a nice cold plate. And if you want to be real fancy, make it a nice cold fork at the same time. And that way it tastes very well. And there's the main mixture, croutons, a quick toss, and it's ready to be served.
And then how come they charged us $40 for a Caesar salad in St. Thomas?
Well, because
And that's all it took.
and really the only ingredient is romaine lettuce.
Sorry.
And how's the, ooh, that looks nice. Let me put a little bit of this in here. I know.
Man. Man. Okay, now I want to show y'all my eggplant. It came out and it's beautiful. Look. Gorgeous. Just cut, serve, and enjoy. Okay, y'all, this is our wonderful eggplant that came out of the oven. We're ready to enjoy it today. Thank y'all very much for being with us. We really had a good time on Holly's house. Now we're going to stay around and enjoy our food. So thank you very much to all of our sponsors, and we'll see you next week on Holly's house. Thanks a lot. Bye-bye. Write to me.